Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're embarking on quite a journey, really. We're exploring this massive concept, the interconnectedness of the universe.
Yeah, it's huge. And what's fascinating is how it appears, everywhere. We'll be looking at sources from ancient wisdom, spiritual paths, right up to modern science.
Exactly. And our mission here isn't just to skim the surface. We want to really get into what this interconnectedness means, like fundamentally for how we understand reality itself.
Absolutely. It's striking how this idea keeps coming back. Even before, sophisticated science, people trying to make sense of the cosmos often landed on this feeling of unity, of everything being linked.
Okay, so let's start with some of those ancient wisdom traditions. It's pretty remarkable, isn't it? Different cultures, different times, but this theme keeps recurring. Like that quote from Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj.
Oh, yeah, the Indian sage. Powerful stuff.
Everything affects everything. In this universe, when one thing changes, everything changes. I mean, that just sets the stage right there, doesn't it? It kind of says, isolated existences, well, that's not real.
It completely undermines it. Maharaj's point is about a holistic universe, right? Where a cause and effect aren't just straight lines. It's all integrated, a system.
And you see something similar with the Sufi teacher Murat Yagan. He talked about interdependence as, what was it? Mutual support for the greater good of the whole.
Yeah, which adds this almost ethical layer, suggesting this connection implies some kind of, cosmic responsibility to each other, to the whole thing.
Even going way back, Hermes Trismegistus in Egypt had that cryptic line, the without is like the within of things, the small is like the large.
Right, which hints at this fractal quality, like the same patterns repeating everywhere, suggesting this deep underlying unity.
And the Greek philosopher Empedocles, his idea of the divine. It wasn't some separate being, but a circle of which the center is everywhere and the circumference is nowhere.
That's such a powerful image. It really gets across this sense of something immanent, woven into everything, not just overseeing it from outside.
Then moving east, the Hindu Avatamsaka Sutra goes even further, saying each object in the world is not merely itself, but involves every other object and in fact is everything else.
That one really pushes the boundaries of our usual thinking about identity. Like the distinctions we make are just convenient fictions, maybe.
So across these different views, what's the common ground? Are there key differences in how they frame it?
Well, the common thread is definitely this rejection of like atomism, the idea of totally separate things. They all emphasize relationships. Empedocles focuses on that omnipresent unifying principle.
Whereas the Avatamsaka Sutra seems more direct, saying the interconnectedness itself is the reality.
Exactly. And these aren't just, nice poems. They're making fundamental claims about what is, about ontology.
The Buddhists, of course, have explored this deeply too. Fat Sang, from the Heian school, used some really helpful analogies.
Right, the candle and the
Yeah,
mirrors.
explain that one. A candle lights up a room full of mirrors.
So you see countless reflections, which look like separate things, but they all come from and depend on that one single candle flame, the ultimate reality.
And the polished crystal reflecting all the other reflections.
That drives home the mutual interdependence. Each reflection only exists because all the others exist. It's a fantastic way to visualize how nothing has its own, like, independent standing. It shows dependent origination really clearly.
It makes abstract ideas like emptiness and interdependence feel more graspable, more visual.
Definitely. It helps bridge that gap.
And it's not just in these complex philosophical systems. You find similar insights in indigenous traditions, too, like Black Elk, the Oglala Sioux medicine man.
Ah, yes, his visions.
He talked about seeing the shapes of all shapes as they must live together as one being. And that statement, anywhere is the center of the world.
That resonates so strongly, doesn't it? Seeing everything as one being lines up perfectly with the non-dual views we were just talking about.
And anywhere is the center. That feels like Empedocles' circle again,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Everywhere is equally significant.
Exactly. It emphasizes that pervasive, interconnected reality. And often these indigenous views come straight from, deep observation and experience of nature, which gives them a really grounded quality.
Okay, so we have this wealth of ancient and indigenous insight. Then, much later, you get figures like Fritjof Capra writing The Tao of Physics. He saw these amazing parallels between the Eastern worldview, that awareness of the unity and mutual interrelation of all things, and what modern physics was uncovering.
Capra's work was pretty revolutionary at the time. He was showing this incredible harmony between two seemingly opposite ways of knowing. Eastern mysticism, which is holistic and introspective, and Western science, which was, mostly reductionist and empirical back then.
He argued that physics, especially quantum physics, was actually revealing a reality that looked a lot like what the Eastern mystics had been saying all along. Interconnected, dynamic.
Right, it flew in the face of the old Newtonian clockwork universe idea. He pointed out that in Eastern thought, reality is seen as this indivisible ultimate reality.
And the goal in those traditions is often about realizing your own identity with that underlying unity, seeing the separate self as an illusion. Nature isn't made of separate things. It's fluid, changing, a dynamic whole, both spiritual and material at once.
Which ties right back into the Buddhist idea of the interdependent nature of all things, this infinite network of interrelationships.
Like Zen Roshi Philip Kapleau put it, everything is connected and interrelated, mutually dependent for their existence, making a universal symphony of harmonious totality.
That word symphony is great. It highlights the harmony, the integration, not just the connection.
Thich Nhat Hanh offers a really practical way into this with his idea of non-identity. He uses the example of a table.
Ah, the table example. It's simple but profound.
Yeah, he says, look at the table. Its existence right now depends on, well, everything. The wood, the tree, the soil, the rain, the sun, the person who cut the tree, the tools, the carpenter.
The parents of the carpenter, the food they ate. It extends outwards infinitely through space and time.
So seeing the table relationally means seeing it doesn't have its own independent self. That's its non-identity. How does that help us grasp interconnectedness?
It forces you to see that things we label as distinct objects are really just like meeting points in this huge network of causes and conditions. It shifts your focus from thinking about inherent stuff to understanding existence as fundamentally relational. The illusion of separation starts to dissolve.
And this idea is central in Tibetan Buddhism too, isn't it? The Dalai Lama talks about interdependence.
Right, but he stresses that it doesn't mean things have some kind of solid objective reality on their own. It's the opposite. Their very emptiness of independent existence is key.
So their reality only makes sense because of the relationship.
Exactly. Emptiness, or sunyata, isn't nothingness, it's the lack of inherent standalone existence. Things appear and work because of conditions, not because they have some fixed core essence. Interdependence is emptiness in action. Because nothing stands alone, everything must rely on everything else. They're two sides of the same coin.
Lama Anagarika Govinda summed it up beautifully, saying the external and internal world aren't separate, they're two sides of the same fabric, woven into this inseparable net of endless, mutually conditioned relations.
It paints such a consistent picture across all these traditions, doesn't it? A radical shift away from seeing the universe as just a machine made of bits.
Precisely. And if everything is this interwoven fabric, then our standard way of thinking about cause and effect, well, it starts to look a bit shaky.
It really does. That simple A causes B model just doesn't seem to capture the complexity, does it? If everything's connected, then any single event probably has countless interdependent factors involved.
Idries Shah was pretty blunt about it, wasn't he? He called cause and effect a primitive short-term rule of thumb.
Yeah, strong words. His point was that in reality, all events are linked to all other events, even if we can't see the connections. We just focus on the obvious immediate links and miss the vast web behind it all.
He suggested that really understanding things, maybe even mystical experience, requires seeing ourselves as part of this whole organism of life.
Shah basically says we simplify because we have to, cognitively. But to grasp the deeper dynamics, we need to acknowledge that wider web of associations.
And Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj throws another spanner in the works by saying causality is linked to the illusion of time.
Right. He suggests that if you could see past and future all at once, in this timeless now, the whole idea of one thing causing another sequentially just dissolves.
And in that space, he says, there's creative freedom because you're not locked into that chain of cause and effect.
It's a mind-bending idea, causality as just an artifact of how we perceive time, which, interestingly, resonates with some interpretations of modern physics where time isn't necessarily fundamental.
Maharaj even argues that nothing really has a single cause. The entire universe contributes to everything, even the smallest thing existing.
So the ultimate source isn't a cause in the usual sense, it's just infinite possibility, the supreme reality.
Meaning everything is, in a way, uncaused because it just is as part of the whole universe being as it is.
Yeah, it's a profound departure. The ground of being isn't causing things. It's the potential from which everything arises. The totality is the context.
Exactly. Involution is energy moving down, becoming less organized, more entropic. Evolution is energy moving up, becoming more refined, more complex. But that upward movement, evolution, needs special machines or apparatuses to transform the energy, like living organisms or even planets.
So Gurdjieff, even back in, 1918, was talking about this constant transformation of matter and energy.
Yeah, he saw everything, suns, planets, people, microbes, as commuting stations in this huge cosmic metabolism, transforming energy both up and down the scale.
And it's not just a straight line, but a network. Everything is eating and being eaten, metaphorically speaking.
Right. Both physically and energetically, at all levels. Organic, inorganic, it doesn't matter. It's all part of this exchange.
Gurdjieff saw the universe as this unending chain of systems bound by universal interdependence. He really detailed this idea of generalized non-separability.
How is his idea different from just general interdependence?
He focused on the mechanism, this detailed exchange of specific types of energy across different levels or scales. While systems have some independence, they're fundamentally linked by these energy flows. Life itself wasn't random for him. It was a necessary function in this cosmic energy exchange.
And he believed this whole system was essential for cosmic harmony. Higher levels organizing lower levels.
Yes, he saw higher levels spiritualizing lower ones, organizing their energies into higher patterns of meaning and value according to cosmic laws. Bennett clarified that Gurdjieff saw the universe primarily as a process of energy transformation, not just a collection of objects.
Gurdjieff had that strange idea, too, that the world exists because being and time are mutually destructive.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. The idea seems to be that things, left alone, just decay. Borrowing energy helps temporarily, but real sustainability needs full mutuality, this balanced reciprocal exchange.
So this constant giving and receiving is what keeps the whole cosmos in balance, cosmic harmony, and requires this structured hierarchy of reality levels to manage the exchanges.
Exactly. It's a very dynamic, structured view of interconnectedness.
Now, what's really fascinating is that some modern physicists have seen parallels between this Trogo-Otto-Egocrat idea and the bootstrap principle in physics.
Right, the bootstrap idea, which suggests this underlying unity, this self-consistency in nature. The universe kind of creates and organizes itself from within without needing fundamental building blocks or an outside force.
Paul Davies even talked about the universe filling itself from within, providing its own energy for life.
And Basarab Nicolescu connects self-creation and self-organization directly to this idea of an infinite chain of systems regulated by universal interdependence. It needs that unity and diversity.
The bootstrap theory itself, especially as Jeffrey Chew developed it, really emphasizes self-consistency. The part only appears with the whole.
And it challenges the very idea of a particle having its own fixed identity, right? A particle is its relationships, its interactions with everything else.
So its properties emerge from the web of connections. It sounds incredibly similar to Gurdjieff's reciprocal maintenance, but at the quantum level. A system exists because all other systems exist too. Self-consistency holds it all together.
Absolutely. So moving from these cosmological views, science itself keeps uncovering these patterns of mutual relationship everywhere we look. Quantum world, cosmic scale, it's pervasive.
The fundamental laws of physics seem to point towards this intrinsic interconnectivity, this harmonious, indivisible whole.
Capra comes back here, describing the universe as that dynamic web of interrelated events. Where nothing is fundamental on its own, properties emerge from the overall consistency of their mutual interrelations.
The hologram metaphor also captures this, doesn't it? The idea that the part contains the whole, and apparent opposites are just complementary aspects of a deeper unity. Unity and diversity again.
It's a huge shift from that old classical mechanical view. Quantum physics really turned things upside down with fields, probabilities, relationship.
Max Planck himself said you have to treat the physical system as a whole to get the laws right. And field theory suggests a particle is kind of everywhere in the system at once through its field.
David Bohm really ran with that, didn't he? Proposing that this inseparable quantum interconnectedness of the whole universe is the fundamental reality.
And the parts we see are just temporary forms within that whole.
Exactly. He argued you can't properly analyze quantum systems by breaking them down into independent bits because their behavior depends on the whole state, ultimately the whole universe. It denies that classical idea that you can just analyze things into pieces.
And this interconnectedness isn't just out there in the quantum realm or the cosmos. It's right here in our own bodies.
Right, the biodance. Our bodies are constantly exchanging matter and energy with the environment. Dr. Larry Dossey pointed out how rapidly we regenerate practically a new set of atoms every 5 years or so.
So this biodance is this constant flow between us and the earth and even beyond.
Yeah.
Like the phosphorus in our bones.
forged in stars. Makes the boundary of me seem pretty fuzzy, doesn't it? We're physically connected to cosmic history, existing in this dynamic balance with everything around us. The idea of a sealed-off I just doesn't hold up elementally.
And realizing this profound interdependence, it naturally leads to ethical considerations, right?
Yeah.
Sense of responsibility.
Definitely. If we're all part of this intricate web, it fosters respect for all life, for great nature. Keith Bazell talked about science revealing this cosmos of tightly interwoven and interdependent energies.
Yeah, the idea that everything is involved in this multi-layered feeding, sustaining, nurturing process. Everything has a role, everything has value.
And recognizing that really forces you to look at your own egoism, that false sense of separation. Becoming aware of that is key to living more harmoniously, considering the impact of our actions on this interconnected whole.
Okay, so to help us get a better handle on how these complex interconnected systems work, systems theory provides a really useful framework. It focuses on patterns and relationships.
Right. The basic idea of a system is that it's an integrated whole, and its properties emerge from the interactions. You can't understand it just by looking at the parts in isolation.
Like psychologist Lawrence Lashan said, objects and events aren't isolated. They're part of patterns within larger patterns, leading up to the grand plan and pattern of the universe. It's this nested structure.
And Capra defines natural systems as wholes arising from the interactions and interdependence of their parts. Take it apart and you lose the essential systemic properties. They're dynamic, always interacting.
Living systems especially show this hierarchy, right? Systems within systems, all interconnected and interacting with their environment.
Absolutely. Think about insect colonies like bees or ants. Individual insects can't do much alone, but together they form this complex superorganism with amazing collective intelligence.
So systems are everywhere: bacteria, humans, anthills, ecosystems. And what persists isn't necessarily the individual components, but the complex web of relationships between them.
And systems theory identifies some common principles or laws that seem to apply across different types of systems.
Okay, what are some of those?
Well, there's coherence, how well the parts are linked and work together internally and with the outside. Then interaction, how new things emerge from the parts interacting, creating that coherence.
There's complementarity, too, the balance of opposites within the system.
Right. And recursion, repeating patterns at different scales, like fractals, adding novelty. Instability acknowledges that systems have limits and can break down or transform. And finally, evolution, the tendency towards greater coherence and complexity over time.
So these laws help explain how complexity arises in the universe. And a key feature is self-organization.
Yes, systems often self-organize. New layers emerge and regulate the previous ones. This needs feedback loops to maintain balance. Chopra and Kafatos point out this happens from particles to galaxies to brain's feedback connecting every new bit back to the whole.
And hierarchy is key here too, levels within levels.
Exactly. Lower levels are part of and regulated by higher levels, but they still have some autonomy. There's upward causation, downward causation, and interactions across the same level. Power isn't just top-down, it's in cooperative relationships.
So the system's view is fundamentally holistic. It links everything together, seeing things as both wholes in themselves and parts of larger wholes.
Precisely. It's a powerful way to conceptualize this interconnected reality.
Okay, finally, let's turn to this really cutting-edge idea that information might be just as fundamental as matter and energy.
Yeah, this is a big shift in thinking. Ervin Laszlo is a major voice here. He argues information is the ultimate link, the thing that connects everything and can move us from a fragmented view to an integral, holistic worldview.
He suggests information isn't just something we create, but it's essential for particles to even exist, for evolution to happen. It's inherent in nature.
And he defines it quite specifically, information, as this subtle, almost instant, non-energetic connection between things, regardless of space or time. He calls it non-local or transpersonal.
And this could potentially solve some big puzzles in cosmology.
That's the hope. Lynn McTaggart builds on this, using the image from quantum physics of the universe as a heaving sea of energy, one vast quantum field.
An invisible web connecting everything.
Right. And living things are like packets of energy constantly exchanging information with this field, cellular communication, DNA, thoughts. We're always resonating with our world.
This ties into that bizarre quantum phenomenon of non-locality or entanglement.
Yes, entanglement, where particles become linked and instantly mirror each other no matter how far apart they are. Niels Bohr's star-crossed lovers.
Einstein famously hated it, spooky action at a distance, because it seemed faster than light.
But it's real. John Bell figured out how to test it, and Elaine Aspect's experiments confirmed it. Measuring one entangled photon instantly affects the other, like that invisible wire connecting them.
And this non-locality isn't just in quantum physics. It seems to be showing up elsewhere.
Evidence suggests it might be more widespread. Laszlo sees this pervasive coherence as pointing beyond matter and energy to information as the active principle that forms things.
Which leads him to propose the Akashic field. What's that?
It's his idea of a fundamental information field underlying physical reality. The world we see is determined by interacting waves or patterns of energy and information in this field.
So in this view, connection and coherence aren't just side effects. They're fundamental. The universe is intrinsically non-local, best understood through fields.
Exactly. Fields connect everything, and quanta interact through these fields. More and more scientists are seeing information as primary, literally informing the universe.
So even things like laws of motion or thermodynamics could be seen as laws about information flow.
That's the direction some thinking is going. Even quantum theory and relativity are being looked at as potentially informational theories at their core, maybe offering a path to unification.
It suggests information exchange happens everywhere, even electrons using information, a universal responsiveness to meaning, and the idea that space-time might be pixelated at the smallest scale.
Points to a possible foundational level for information, maybe even a holographic reality.
Jude Currivan argues strongly for this too, a universe interconnected and permeated by information. She sees the speed of light not just as a limit, but as enabling evolution.
She says information actively informs reality. The cosmic hologram contains the instructions for a universe designed to grow complexity and self-awareness.
So, to truly grasp wholeness, we need to rethink physics in terms of information, seeing it as more fundamental than space-time or energy matter.
That's her argument. The difference between quantum and macro scales might just be about how hard it is to informationally isolate bigger things, implying an innate coherence everywhere. Laszlo agrees this information network applies across all scales, from the Big Bang to consciousness.
And Currivan links the fundamental laws to information too.
Yes. She suggests the conservation of energy matter, the first law of information, is basically quantum theory generalized, and increasing informational entropy, the second law, is related to relativity. These two allow the universe to exist and evolve.
And time itself might be the flow of this informational entropy.
It's a profound possibility, linking time, information, and evolution at the deepest level.
Wow. Okay, so wrapping up this very deep dive, what are the main takeaways? It seems clear that both ancient wisdom and modern science are pointing towards this pervasive interconnectedness.
Definitely. And our simple cause and effect models just don't seem sufficient anymore. Plus, this emerging role of information as absolutely fundamental is, well, potentially game-changing.
And this interconnectedness isn't just theoretical. It's operating at every level, from quantum particles to galaxies to... It really forces us to rethink boundaries and adopt a more holistic view.
It moves us beyond just breaking things down into parts and encourages seeing the integrated whole.
So here's something for you, the listener, to mull over. If everything truly is fundamentally interconnected, and if information is indeed shaping reality in this primary way, what completely new ways might that open up for understanding consciousness and for understanding your own unique, yet completely inseparable place within this incredible cosmic web?
Indeed, it's an invitation to reevaluate not just how the universe works, but who and what we are within this amazing interconnected cosmic dance.